Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Nathan from Dorothy's Speed Shop down here in North Devon. I run motorcycle tours, both taking people overseas and Europe on their own bikes and also day rides on a fleet of bikes that I've got, whether it's be old Honda CT110s or some A2 bikes, so Himalayan CRF Vogue. So to be honest, I don't have as much interest now in the bigger bikes, which is why I was curious when Suzuki said, do you want to have a V-Strom 800D on test for a while? So I kind of jumped at the chance, really just to get a feel for this kind of bike. This sort of mid-capacity adventure travel trail bike section is one that I've not really ridden much of. So I've not spent much time on a Tenere, only a little bit. 890 KTM, same. Transalp I've not ridden. So if you're watching this to get a feel of which you should buy, I can't tell you because I've not ridden them all. So I'm coming at this with a pretty open mind to what this V-Strom 800 represents. Looking at the specs, it's 10,700 quid, 84 brake horsepower, weighs 230 with a full 20 litre tank. So it's not light, it's actually the same as that Benelli TRK 702 that I was testing the other week. So people say, why the Chinese bikes are heavy? Well, they're actually exactly the same as a Japanese bike. If I'm honest, I'm curious about this bike for the fact that it doesn't seem to be selling well. And I suppose Suzuki won't want me to say that, but just the impression I get from the market, it's been out a year, is that it's not captured a lot of audience at the minute. I think the Tenere is doing really well. The Transalp seems to be bubbling along nicely, and then you've got the Touareg and obviously the Tiger 900 is doing very well. You've got the BMW F900 GS, which I think is going to explode and probably add a slightly more upper class element to that Tenere crowd. So that's interesting. Then you've got loads of left field options. I just wrote them down. You know, even a V8.5 TT, Cove 800's on its way. That's it, yeah. So there's a fair few options out there. And I think, looking at it, I can't kind of figure out who is going to buy a V-Strom. And I think that's part of why I'm interested in putting some miles on it, to see really who is V-Strom man. Because at the minute, I can't see who would buy it. If you're an aggressive rider, incapable off-road and wanted a dirt option, you're going to buy a Tenere or you're going to buy a KTM 890. If you were somebody who just wanted something safe and secure and reliable, I think you're going to buy a Transalp, maybe a Tiger 900, maybe if you were somewhere in between, you might buy the F900 GS. Left field choices, you've got the Guzzi and the Touareg, but where does that leave Suzuki? Because it's neither cheap, it's more expensive than the Tenere, and I get the impression they've not really set it up to be an overly aggressive off-road bike, you know, reading around the edges and looking at the photographs in the press pack, it looks like it's going to be capable of gravel track, which is where they see it, but it's not going to be a proper, you know, Pol Torres type Tenere contender. So does that mean it's a touring bike? Well, then you look at it and go, well, it's got tubed wheels, spoke tube wheels. It's not got a centre stand. It's got ride-by-wire throttle but no cruise control. So they've not really given the touring crowd what they want either. And it kind of baffles me that the manufacturers don't seem to be listening to what the audience or the customer is telling them that they would like. So to me, I think any of these bikes, whether it be Transalp, this, F900, if it came with tubeless spoke wheels and cruise control, I think that would capture a big swathe of the market. But the fact that Suzuki's not put that on means that I don't think they're really trying to capture the touring market either. And by not making it aggressive enough to take on the Tenere, they're not really catering for the off-road market either. So what middle ground does it occupy? And I think that's what I'm keen to explore. Where does it sit? Who is going to buy it? What are they going to buy it for? And maybe why wouldn't they buy it? Or why aren't they buying it? Because I've always liked Suzuki. Always thought they built an honest, earnest motorcycle. Not overly frilly, not overly fancy, not overly high-tech, but normally at a very competitive price. And I think this is a bit different. It seems to be pitched quite high price-wise, and then we've got styling that's like it threatens to be an aggressive styling. It threatens to deserve a Dr. Big name on the tank, but then they pulled it back a bit at the last minute and given it the quite dreary V-Strom name. So I would say that there is a certain lack of clarity in Suzuki's approach with this bike, which is perhaps the reason that it doesn't seem to be getting the traction it possibly deserves to get. But if you've ridden one, if you own one, if you're thinking about one, just put a comment in the comment section, and you know, over the next few weeks I'll try and figure out what is V-Strom. Who is V-Strom man or V-Strom woman? This bike's come to me with the Dunlop Raid tyres on, which are it's said to be a 50-50 dirt tyre, so I am going to do some trail riding on it. Do they look as aggressive as something like Anarchy Wild or a TKC 80? I don't think so, so I'll be interested to see what they are like. But you know, this notion that these are smaller bikes, mid-weight bikes, for people to go off-roading for the first time, I think is absolute bobbins, because that is a big bike. I've got a lot of mass here. You hear that? I've got a lot of plastic to crack there. You know, would you want to be learning to off-road or green laning, certainly in the UK, for the first time on a bike like this? Absolutely not. Would I choose to ride off-road on this anyway? No, even with a bit of skill. So, yeah, it is interesting where these bikes of this in this class of pitch, because to me, they are road tourers. There's exceptions such as the Tenere and the KTM, but they're being bought by a certain group of people who know how to ride these types of bikes. The rest just want road tourers. Where does this fit in? Time will tell. Right, cheers.